Welcome to the angle questions. So we're going to have a quick go at these now. So question number 1, we've got a four-sided shape here and a missing angle, and they've given us all the rest. So the key to this problem is knowing what the angles of this shape add up to, and very straightforward. A four-sided shape can be split into two triangles if you start at one corner. So that's 2 times 180, because a triangle is 180, which is 360. So they add up to 360. So let's add them up and see what we've got so far. We've got 120 and 140 and 58. So that's going to be 8. And that's 5 and 4 is 9, 11. Carry the 1, 1, 2, 3. 318. So 360 take 318. That's between 42. I make it. So 42 degrees. Question 2. Okay, what do we notice about this then? Well, this is telling us that this triangle is an isosceles triangle. Therefore, this angle and this angle are the same size. And it's also telling us that this is an isosceles triangle as well. So these two angles are equal in size. So you can see instantly W is 25, which happens to be the first question. Write down the size of angle W. So we can do that straight away. We can write down 25 degrees. And this is a good way to start these problems. Just see what you can figure out. Now, the next question says work out the size of angle X, which is here. And I know that the three angles of the triangle add up to 180 degrees. So let's see, we've got a 25 and a 25, which makes 50. And 180 take 50 is 130. So this angle here must be 130, because then they all add up to 180. So 130 degrees. Okay, now we're going to work out the size of angle Y, and you can see this is the sort of the trickier part of it because they've left it for the end, and there's 2 marks for this. So I've seen my isosceles triangles here, 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 and here. I've worked this angle out. The only angle I don't know is this one. I'm going to put it in red, this one here, and you should be able to spot a pattern. So I'm going to draw the pattern here in blue. The pattern is this is the pattern, it's this bit here. And if you notice, it's the angles on a straight line. So if you can see that pattern in there, and being good with angle problems is about spotting the pattern. So there's the pattern. So I know that this one here was 130, and I know they both have to add up to 180, which means this one here must be 50, because these two add up to 180. So that's 50. Oh, I've written 150. Whoops daisy. There we go. 50 it is. Now earlier we mentioned that these two are the same. So if this is 50, then these two must be 130, and then I've got to halve it. And 130 divided by 2 is 65. So 65 degrees. And we could check that by going 65 and 65 makes 130. Add 50 gets us to 180, which is that triangle. Right, what a horrible looking diagram that is. Let's see what there is to be seen in that one. Well, we've got a triangle here, but we only know one angle, so that's not massively useful. We've got 2 parallel lines, so that means I'm going to be looking out for these patterns. I'm going to be looking out for F's and Z's, because I know if I can find a Z, there's a Z, then those two angles are the same. And if I can find an F, then those two angles are the same. So that's what I'm looking for. But I do see something else here. I can see another pattern. I can see the opposite angles pattern. So let me just draw that for you. The opposite angles where you've got a cross. So I can see as a cross here because this line carries on there and this from there. So this is the other side of it. So that is 42 degrees. And as I said to you before, I'm just trying to do what I can. Now that's quite helpful because that's shown me a Z. Okay, let's just get rid of that. That was not in the plan. Here we go. Here's the Z. So we go down here, along here, and down there. So that's told us that this angle here is 42 degrees. And notice, don't seem to be any closer to working out this one, but I'm gradually learning more and more about the problem. Now, there is another Z, a bit of a strange one, so I'm going to rub out my last Z if I can. There we go. And this is my new Z. It's a bit of a funny Z, this. It's kind of like a stretched out Z. You have to turn your head on side to see this, really. And this is telling me that this angle and this angle are the same. So, 110, and this is x and 42. So if I start with 110 and I take away 42, then let's have a quick think about that. 110, take away 42, and you get 68. Okay, so this bit here is 68. And you can check that by adding them together, and you'll see that they add up to 110. So there we go, 68. Now this problem finishes here, but quite often they don't, and quite often you'd find that the other angles we'd worked out would be of some use. Question 4. This is a nice one. Notice the little square bit in there. That's telling you that it's a 90-degree angle, and this one's 68. So all we have to do is take 68 away from 90, and that's what, 60, 70, 22. Let's just check that. 22 and 68, 2 and 8 add up to 10, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and notice how you can check to make sure you've done your maths right, because it's a real shame to know this and to make a simple mistake here. You might use a number line instead of this, that's okay. Now for the challenge question. Alright, we're going to go over to another screen for this. Here we go. So this is a bearings problem. Now we've got two boats, P and Q, and then the question starts talking about another boat, boat R. So there's boat R there. And in the space above, draw an accurate diagram to show the position of boat R. Mark the position of boat R with a cross, label it R. They like their R's, don't they? So, let's start with the first piece of information. The bearing of a boat R from boat P. And those of you who know me know that this is a bit I'm really looking out for. From boat P. They're telling you where to put the angle measurer. Put it on P. Okay, there we go. Now, boat P isn't where the P is, it's where the cross is. And now I'm going to use something I know about bearings. So bearings are angles, obviously, measured from north. So that means, oh, and the other important thing is clockwise. So, just like when you measure on a ruler, you start at 0, when you measure an angle, you start at 0, and here's my 0, and I need my 0 to be on north. So I turn it round, and I put it on north, there we go. Can you see 30, 20, 10, 0? They've written 340 because it kind of acts for both numbers. Now, the bearing of boat R from boat P is 0, 60, so 60 degrees. So I'm going to come round here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and notice how I'm counting round, and if you count round, you'll go right. If you just zoom in on the number, you might get the wrong number. So that's our first one. Notice the little mark I made there. I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to get my ruler at this point. So here's the ruler. I'm going to stick the ruler on, and I'm going to draw that bearing in. There we go. So now we need to get a pen. There we are, and we draw our bearing in. Now I'm going to draw this line nice and long because I don't know where on that line the boat is. I just know the boat's in that direction. So I've just done the first one. There we go. Now for the second one. So just read it really carefully. The bearing of boat R from boat Q. It's telling me where to put my angle measurer. Okay, so I measure it on Q. And again, Q is not the letter, Q is labeling the cross. And I'm just checking there's my 0 there, they're both zeros. and this time it's bearing of 310. So I'm going to count round 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, there's 200, there's 310 there, so make a little mark there. Okay, if you're a bit worried about being able to do this and you haven't got the equipment, pop yourself down to WH Smith with a couple of quid in the morning and buy yourself some. It's well worth it. You're investing in your future. Having a good qualification in maths is worth a little bit of hassle. In fact, it's worth quite a lot of hassle. Some people go to enormous lengths to get it. Some people pay huge amounts of money for it. You just need an angle measurer. Now, let's see what we've got. Okay, this line here, that's the line, the top line, the 60-degree line, and this line is the 360 line. And we know that the boat is on both of those lines, which means it's got to be where they cross. So I'm going to put a little cross there like it asked me to, and I'm going to label it R. Okay, and I didn't need the rest of these lines. I'm not going to bother rubbing them out because I don't need to. It's very clear what my answer is. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you had a go. If you haven't, then you might want to go and have a go now yourself.